Hello everybody, my name is Star Arpino. Welcome to the channel. Xbox certainly has a killer lineup for the first half of 2025. They put out their developer underscore direct, which is highlighting the first 5 big titles hitting our Xbox Game Pass and everything else in the first couple months of this year. Before we get started into highlighting all those games, make sure you go ahead, if you like this video, if you like this kind of content with video games, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel, where I've been recently talking more about games. As you see, my background is a lot of Star Wars because that's my primary interest on the channel, but I am opening things up to gaming, and I would love to hear your feedback. If you want to see me and hear me continue to do this kind of content, please sound off in the comments section down below. So yes, these developer underscore directs have been happening. This is the third one. It's pretty much annualized at this point. Usually around the end of January, Xbox gives us a peek at what's to come up until like the showcase, which is where they will announce the next games that are coming out in the other half of the year. And this one honestly was an absolute banger. What I really enjoyed from a top level view of this, before we get into the specific games, is that they gave something for everybody. First and foremost, right, we got Ninja Gaiden, which is a great action series being brought back from the dead. Great action series. And then we also have the Clair Obscure Expedition 33, which is a turn-based kind of action sort of game. Very interesting third-party partnership there. We also have what's been announced already, South of Midnight, which is just the kind of game that I think first-party Xbox needs when it comes to sort of like an action, adventure, story-based, platforming, fun third-person kind of action game. Definitely good stuff there. And the headliner, the finisher on this one, was Doom: The Dark Ages. Just one of the best first-person shooter franchises of all time, and this thing looks awesome. So besides that, we got release dates for pretty much everything on here. Exact releases, everything except for Ninja Gaiden 4. We're going to get into that first. So very, right off the top, very impressed with the showing today from Xbox. So diving in chronologically to what was announced and giving you guys some details, what I'm excited about, because I'm actually excited about every one of these games. That's what's really fun for me. They first showed off big partnership between Xbox Game Studios, first party, and Team Ninja, plus Platinum Games, and that is for Ninja Gaiden 4. We haven't had Ninja Gaiden 3, I think, in like 10 years. They said they've been working on this game for 10 years. First of all, it's great to see that Xbox continues to have relationships with the Japanese studios, even after the weird thing that happened earlier last year with Tango Gameworks and the whole thing with Hi-Fi Rush. But it's good to see that, you know, Xbox is still trying to push forward in the East, and especially this is a great storied franchise. I kind of lost my mind when this came up, because I remember going back to the original Xbox, playing Ninja Gaiden, guys, was like the OG very difficult game. This is the game that predates Dark Souls and Elden Ring as like the toughest game of its time. And I remember just the shared life pool that when you failed, you had to start the game kind of over again. I never got very far, but I remember the game looking really pretty and just a great action game. And they're going to have another character you can play as besides Ryu Hayabusa. There's a brand new character. You're in Tokyo. There's something about dragons with tears that are kind of melting things. But this is looking like a game that I've not played in years. And it's nice to see that they are, you know, harkening back to the old days. But that wasn't all. They had one more thing. And Platinum Team Ninja, or actually it might have been just Team Ninja at this point, announced today we have Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, redone in the Unreal Engine 5, is available to download and purchase right now. As you're watching this video, I have the game downloading on my Xbox Series S, guys. I'm looking forward to diving in. I've never played 2, I don't think, but it's going to be a nice change of pace from the usual stuff. And again, this is kind of going way back in time. They're just buffing things up, making it look pretty. The textures look great. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays on the Series S. Maybe I'll download it on Series X or the PC, but you know, I usually play on my Xbox Series S for when I'm in the studio here. So I was very happy with that reveal. Going on to the next game from first party, we've seen a bit of this game already, and that's South of Midnight, made by Compulsion Games, who made We Happy Few, which I actually enjoyed quite a bit. The best thing is we got a release date for this game, April 8th. So there you go. We got a game coming out that soon already, even after Avowed is coming out next month. What stands out with this game for me, if you don't know much about it, It's a lot of storytelling, whether it be the music, whether it be the folklore of the Deep South, the different locations they highlighted in this video. Everything seems to be coming forward, even the gameplay design with the way that the frames per second is just kind of a little bit off, like a stop motion animation. Very cool stuff there. Voice acting sounds amazing. It just has a lot of style to it. The Xbox has not had a game sort of like this from first party, where it's that, you know, that kind of almost I would say almost like a PlayStation sort of action platformer from the PS4 or the PS3 era, something to that regards. But I'm looking forward to seeing something so different. We don't really get games that are taking place in the Deep South with kind of the mythology of these different spirits and whatnot that are haunting things, like kind of gothic style, which is something I could really get down with. So looking forward to that on April 8th. Then there's a third-party partnership, and that was with a brand new studio called Sandfall Interactive. Now, they hearkened from France, and that's another thing. We have all these studios from around the world, so it's always fun seeing that with these developer_directs, hearing directly from the developers, because South of Midnight is being developed in Montreal, Canada. So getting back to Sandfall Interactive, this is the game, this is the studio, small studio's first game. And this is a third-person kind of, well, actually, obviously, RPGs are third-person usually, but it is a turn-based system. But it is really kind of meeting players in the middle ground, where there's actually, you're doing turns with your characters, but in the defense part, when the enemies are attacking you, you could actually interact and counter and do different things. So it's an active gameplay style. So I love what the devs were talking about when it comes to the different kind of players that would come to this game. You have people that could be more action-based versus people that like turn-based games more, or people that can get a little bit of both. So you can really absorb more players to play this game based on interest, and I would kind of fall right in the middle. I just got done playing through Marvel's Midnight Suns, which I really enjoyed, and that is a card-based turn-based game. So there's a lot of fun elements there. So I actually would be very interested to see this, because the developer said that this was like a JRPG influenced Western RPG turn-based game. So I'm very curious. The art style looks very interesting. The story looks really cool too, about how these, every year the clock ticks down another number, and then everybody that is older than that number basically disappears or dies. So you have this expedition that is going to this different realm to kill this painter that is in the paintress, which is in charge of picking the number and basically exterminating the human race. But they're saying like the characters are very grounded, very good complex personal relationships. The story sounds great. There's an overworld kind of map that you're literally running around. Crazy different characters. I'm loving the kind of 18th century, or they say late 18th or late 19th century art style of like that Paris kind of different kind of thing. For whatever reason, it brings to mind James and a Giant Peach, that kind of look to it. I don't know if I'm far off from the board on that, but again, I'm excited to see that Xbox makes partnerships with third-party studios, especially brand new studios. So I'm really hoping this thing turns out great. Last but not least, oh yeah, by the way, that's coming out on April 24th. So there you go. We're seeing this calendar already, right? Doom, The Dark Ages, id Software. This game, oh my goodness, I love Doom 2016. I love Doom Eternal. I was brought up on Doom when I was about 4 or 5 years old, playing it on my dad's old PC. Probably too young to be playing a game like that, but long story short, I just really love this franchise, especially the new iterations of the speed. I love how when they're promoting this game on this video, they talked about how each Doom game that's modern has had a different feel, where it's like the first game, you're running around hyperspeed, trying to stay alive, just being the beast. And then Doom Eternal, a lot of verticality, a lot of jumping mechanics and all. Now with Doom, The Dark Ages, you're basically a tank. You have a shield that I absolutely love, because there's different contextual uses of the shield. You can throw it, you can block, you can deflect, you can hit people with it. Then you have different kind of melee weapons, such as a mace, like a club, just a whole bunch of various different things. This just seems like the game that has really evolved since 2016. There's so much like puzzle elements in here, of like the combat puzzle, where you approach an enemy and you're trying to figure out how to efficiently do this. The music is thumping. They said there's a gigantic mech that you get to go in, and it's not just a one-trick pony thing. Like, there's multiple times you're gonna have to get in this skyscraper-sized mech, and this is during the medieval ages, so we're back in time. The shooting looks amazing as well. Of course, it's a Doom game. You're gonna have shooting. That's the main thing, and it's just the different weapons, like the skull shredders or whatever, shooting skull fragments at different enemies. Like, it's absolute barbaric stuff that has this sci-fi element to it, even though it's supposed to be taking place back in time on this different realm of Earth or whatever it's called. You can get in these flyer things, fly around. I love the accessibility options of being able to toggle like 20 or so different options, it looked like, whether it be the speed at which your character moves versus the other characters. So it is nice to see a game that anybody can play through and adjust based on making it harder or easier with all the separate different elements. I love when games really let you fine-tune things like that. I feel like Starfield most recently has done a lot with just modifying ship combat versus enemy on foot combat and your health and all this stuff, and giving you XP bonuses on all that. So I do like that accessibility option. This game is coming out on May 15th. And by the way, there are like open zones, it sounds like. When you're doing a mission, you could do multiple things. It's not just a strict linear path. It seems like there are a lot of exploration options to perhaps get different kind of upgrades and whatnot for your weapons. And they also did admit you don't have to do as much reading, or if any, and this was no codexes. It seems like all the story is going to play out in fully rendered cutscenes rather than having you just take time out of zombie and post-apocalyptic demon slaying and actually, you know, reading stuff. This is actually going to be more interactive and much more immersive. So that's out on May 15th. So look at that schedule. We got South of Midnight on April 8th. We have Clair Obscure Expedition 33 on the 24th. We have Doom the Dark Ages May 15th. We already have our first like fall release scheduled, Ninja Gaiden 4. And that's not even including Fable, that's not including Outer Worlds 2, that's not including Call of Duty Black Ops or whatever that next Call of Duty is going to be. And that is following Avowed, which is coming out literally in a matter of weeks at this point. So yeah, Xbox, this is it. This is the year. I feel it. They've been, you know, Phil Spencer and crew have been saying, just wait, this is the year, we're gonna get all these things lined up. They've been wanting to put out like one game, big AAA game per quarter, and we're getting like 3 games in a matter of a month, or 2 months, 4 months, 4 games in like 2 or 3 months. That's pretty insane to come out of the gate. What I will say is I'm probably not gonna have much time to play through a backlog based on what I'm seeing here. And the best thing about all this, games I just mentioned, Game Pass Day 1. So if you're looking for any excuse to like leave Game Pass, you might want to stick on for a little bit longer, because I really do feel like Xbox has delivered, and there are games for just about every kind of player on here. And I'm just damn selfish and guilty saying I'm gonna play every one of these darn games, because these all scratch a different itch that I would like to experience, the variety. And that's the glory of Xbox having so many different studios and so many different locations. That's what I love about this. We're getting studios in Japan, we're getting studios in France, in Canada, you know, in Texas, right? There's all these different people from around the world getting to coordinate and give us good content. And it's just fun to see something that's not sanitized as much as, like, you know, State of Play or Nintendo Direct. We actually get to see the developers, we get to see their workspace, we get to see them pouring their passion into what they're talking about with these games. So I absolutely thought they killed it. Following the 2024 Studio Showcase in June, I thought that was a really good showing. Xbox has been on a really good streak. Now I just hope they don't, you know, step back and make some bad mistake here and there with business, which unfortunately happens from time to time. We get some bad news after we're flying high on something like this. But I want to hear what you guys think about all of these announcements. Let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said before, I am relatively newer to talking about the games more recently, so let me know how I did. I love gaming. I want to talk more about it on this channel. I hope you guys liked my thoughts. See you on the other side. Happy gaming, everybody.